Here on a special edition episode here on the Monday night. Dallas Cowboys. Two Monday night football games going on. They're still going on. We decided to hop on. I know a lot of people had Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill drafted really high, maybe Jalen Waddle. We're gonna have to talk about the Dolphins. But first, I'm gonna let Christian take it away with some of the injuries.
Yeah. So right before we jumped on, we went through three of the major injuries that we had questions about last night. So number one, had a lot of questions in the TikTok chat on Jonathan Taylor. We also had a lot of questions on Rasheed Rice. And then the third one, Elliott, I really don't remember what was the third injury we had. Rasheed Rice, Jonathan Taylor, and
It was
Anthony
Christian
Richardson.
Watson. Christian Watson, Anthony Richardson, those two.
Yeah.
okay, Anthony Richardson. Yeah. So looking at Anthony Richardson, looks like it's a hip pointer injury. He is expected to be evaluated today or tomorrow. And I don't know. They said he was in good spirits. So we'll see if he's able to play this upcoming week. If he's on your roster, I would just monitor it. You probably drafted him not for his passing ability, probably drafted him for his legs. So at this point, I would continue to monitor him. Looked like Flacco had a lot more success when he was put in. So
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if they wanted to rest him this week. Elliott, Warren, and even when Austin was on here last week, we've been discussing, at least with Anthony Richardson, this is still kind of like his rookie year. So while he's still getting settled in, I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe him take a week or two off, get fully healthy, and then come back when he can. So that's injury update on Anthony Richardson. Looking at Rasheed Rice, last update that we saw, and I think one I saw from Adam Schefter, one I saw from Fantasy Pros. Right now, he is not confirmed a torn ACL. They expect it to be an ACL injury, but right now they're treating it as a day-to-day situation. So he's still expected to have more medical tests coming up in the next couple of days. They have not made a formal decision. If I were a team owner of Rasheed Rice, I would probably not start him this week. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm probably gonna, err on the side of caution here and not keep him. So try to think about other fantasy options that you can play, whether it's maybe a wide receiver two, if he's available. Xavier Worthy, he's probably gonna get some of those touches in the Chiefs offense. But maybe try to see what you can find out there, maybe as a flex, and maybe move some pieces around. And then finally, Jonathan Taylor, had a lot of questions on him last night. He was injured. He went back into the game,
Yeah.
but that is a situation I would just tell you, if you're an owner like I am, continue to monitor it. Maybe start somebody else and have him as your flex option this week, just to make sure you have your running backs covered.
Yep.
I think they expect him to play, but it's a mild high ankle sprain. Usually a high ankle sprain, and usually they don't say the severity of it. That is an injury that it can lag on throughout the rest of the season. And so it could just be, he cuts one way and he tweaks it. It could just be he's running and he plants or something like that and he tweaks it. So
Yeah.
um, just continue to monitor it. It's probably not going to be it heals in one or 2 weeks. It's probably going to be here the rest of the season.
Somebody in the chat, IDK said, should I drop Hunter Henry for Taysom Hill? Christian, I would say yeah, just because tight end is so bad, and I think Taysom Hill has a higher ceiling, I guess. But your take, what do you think?
I don't really trust the Patriots offense. And I know that if you're just looking for pieces, who's going to catch the ball, Hunter Henry is one of those top two pieces that they have. I just don't think Taysom Hill is reliable enough. And
Yeah.
so I know the question is, would you drop him for Taysom Hill? I would maybe see what other tight end options are out there.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill may catch a touchdown next week. He may not. He's one of those. He's going to get like two touches for like 6 yards and a touchdown. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's not reliable enough. Elliott, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, Hunter Henry's playing a bad offense, but I think with Hunter Henry, it would be more steady. But Taysom Hill, when he pops, he's gonna pop. Like it's gonna be like he was last night, or I'm sorry, last yesterday afternoon. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a tough one. But honestly, I mean, Taysom Hill's got a higher ceiling in terms of fantasy stats. So I'd say Taysom Hill.
I got Thomas here says DeAndre Swift for T. Higgins. Is that a good trade? I think it's pretty even.
I think that's even. But
Yeah.
they just know you're going with the Bears offense. So buyer
uh,
beware. Yeah.
Colin
So I
says,
will say
oh,
on
go
that
ahead.
point about the Bears offense, I saw a report that apparently a lot of the Bears offensive players had a meeting with Shane Waldron, their OC,
Mhm.
and basically the meeting was like, "Hey man, like let's step this up a little bit. We're playing a little too like junior league, junior level.
Yeah.
So it may mean nothing. I mean, there's players have meetings all the time. It may mean nothing, but for what it's worth, the Bears offensive players they said something to Shane Waldron about it. So maybe that may change going forward. Who knows?
Yeah.
Colin says, I have Rasheed Rice, Christian McCaffrey, and Trey McBride. Any suggestions on how to improve my team? I would trade CMC for whatever you can get. I probably hold on to McBride. Rashi Rice is tough. I mean, his value is high, but he got hurt. So I would try to see what you can get for him, but I would definitely trade CMC to see what you can get.
I think that's tough because obviously those are three starting pieces. And it's
Yep.
not you drafted Trey McBride, you can get no, he is one of your top tier tight end options. CMC, I know I wish we had the information that we have now. I wish we had that week one. Because
Yeah.
obviously CMC would not have been drafted probably what the top three picks in your draft.
Yep.
Um, like you said, Morin, at this point, all you can really do is try to salvage it
Yep.
and try to get whatever pieces you can. It may be for CNC, it may be a tight end and a running back that's not really going to pan out, but that is the value that he has right now.
Yep. We're caught up on questions right now. I wanted to
I'm
ask
gonna
about
pause.
the
I think
Dolphins.
I think
Um,
we just had a touchdown in the
Yeah,
oh,
Kenneth
Dolphins.
Kenneth
Walker.
Walker.
Kenneth
Yeah,
Walker. That was actually going to be a take of mine tonight based on what I'd seen. I mean, not like a hot take, but just a take.
we'll take it.
Hey, I mean, basically, I was going to say if you're a Kenneth Walker owner or a Charbonnet owner, looking at, and again, the game's not fully over yet, but looking at the pitch count, looking at touches, the Seahawks pretty much communicated loud and clear that when Walker's back, Walker's back. Like they're
Yep.
not going hot hand Charbonnet over Walker. Like as far as they're concerned, it's Walker's show, and
Yeah.
Charbonnet's going to come in to spill Walker. So if you're somebody that's, I don't know, some leagues may have dropped Walker, some may have him on IR. My message and feedback is keep him. Maybe try to trade him high or sell him high, but like if you're a Walker owner or a Walker pursuer, you should be confident based on what we're seeing against a pretty good defense too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I would say the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Are we fire selling all Dolphins? As a result, yesterday we said let's wait and see what they do with Tyler Huntley. And I didn't think it could get worse, but it has, I feel like.
So,
Are you selling?
let me pause you there on Tyler Huntley. Is it that the offense just has not had enough time to adjust with him? Or do we actually think this is what the Dolphins are going to be for the rest of the season?
So that's one. I actually texted this to you, so I didn't text this in the big group, Christian. But my kind of confusion, for lack of a better term, was, and I still think he is. I still think he is. But if Mike McDaniel is the opposite genius that he has shown, I'm kind of stunned that there wasn't a little more creativity to make this work around Huntley. I mean, they're basically running, and I just saw a play where it was basically a screen pass loss for Waddle, and they're basically running the old school backup quarterback, bro, don't lose the game, just hand it off and play defense. That's basically what they're doing. There's
But they're
nothing
losing.
right in the end, but they're losing. There's nothing
Elliott, they
really.
probably talked to Warren. They probably heard from Warren that the Titans are trash. You don't have to worry about this game. They took it to
Look,
heart.
my take, I'm selling all Dolphins. If I got Chan, I'm selling them for what I could get. Um, if I got Tyreek, and I was pushing Tyreek to be the number one pick over Christian McCaffrey, over Brees Hall. Um, I was looking good week one, but ever since Tua went out, it's just is awful. I would see what I could get for Tyreek. I would see what I could get for Chan. I don't even know if people want Jalen Waddle at this point. Um, I'm
I
off.
think Waddle's probably the guy that's like really the lost guy in all this because he was always going to be a notch below Hill and a notch below A-Chain. And if A-Chain and Hill can't get it right with this offense, he may be the most hopeless of all of them.
So Warren, I'm going to challenge you on this, and I'm not going to disagree with you here.
Okay.
If you're going to trade your pieces, what would if you're listening to this on TikTok, if you have one of these pieces, if you have Tyreek, if you have A Chain,
Mhm.
what do you expect them to get in return value wise for those pieces?
So if I had to guess, I don't know if people would do it, but if I had Tyreek, I'll name off a couple of receivers I would take. Um, I would take Stephon Diggs for Tyreek. Um, I would probably take mm, one of the Bucks wide receivers for Tyreek, Evans or Godwin. Uh, if Devontae Smith came back, I would take Devontae Smith over Tyreek. Um,
Okay. What about a Niners receiver, or do you think that value is still high for
I'm not touching Ayuk. He got paid, so he doesn't care anymore. I would take Debo over Tyreek, and there's Jameson Williamson scoring there that quick.
High stepping, high
Um,
stepping.
but yeah, I would take who did you just ask? I can't remember who you just said, but I would take I would take them over Tyreek. I have no faith in this offense, and like I've always said to Elliott, I don't care how good a player is. Like if your offense is bad, that means you're not going to be on the field a lot, which means you're not going to get opportunities. And if the offense is looking like this, like I mean, you may get lucky in garbage time, but I wouldn't bank on it.
I'd ask a question, Warren, kind of, I guess, Christian's question in reverse. Who would you, if you're in a fantasy league, if somebody's offering you Tyreek Hill, what
Mhm.
would you accept for Tyreek Hill or A. Tanner Water? Like, what would you say? Yeah, I'll take that. Like, is there any scenario,
Um,
or like, what level would you go, or either of you two?
I would probably uh Giants fan is Zane. I see a question. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. Um, for Tyreek, if
Like,
I wanted him,
would you take like if you? I'm trying to think. Let's say if you on
Elliot,
your team, yeah,
I actually thought of the perfect piece that I think maybe thinking about right now who has momentum, and maybe if you have Tyreek, you're trying to sell while you can. Talked about yesterday, Deontay Johnson. Panthers offense is certain. I'm going to use that word sparingly.
uh,
I would take
They're
Johnson
doing
over
well, almost
Tyreek.
at surging. They're doing well.
I'd make
But
that
yeah.
trade. Johnson
yeah,
for
I would make
Tyreek.
that trade too. Just
I
think
Oh,
just
about
thought,
Tim,
if he's
Tim
getting.
said, what if Tua comes back? I mean, come on. If Tua comes back,
yeah,
yeah, but I don't even
yeah.
know if Tua's gonna retire.
I thought about just McLaurin. Like, if you have McLaurin, would you take
Yeah,
McLaurin? Would you take Hill for McLaurin?
I would. No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. I would keep McLaurin.
Okay.
I
Or
look, Tyreek is
yeah.
my favorite wide receiver, but
Mm,
this is just not doing it.
yeah.
Well, hey,
And somebody just scored. Who just
Tyler
it was?
Huntley.
Oh, okay. He ran it in. Okay.
Giants fan said, is Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor for DK and Bijan Robinson? I'd probably take
Yeah.
DK and Brian Robinson.
Yeah. And I was actually reading up on Adams before we got on. Adams is dealing with hamstring. Hamstrings
But you know what I
like
think it is? Um, it may be a hamstring, but I
he,
think
he
they
may not
just
want he
came
may not
up
want to
with
be there.
some whack
He
injury.
don't want
Yeah.
to play.
He doesn't want to
Yeah,
be there.
because week
Yeah.
3 he gave up, and then Antonio Pierce came out and said, "Well, we're gonna make business decisions and blah blah blah." And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
Devontae
He's
Adams is
hurt.
out with a hamstring. Like, come on.
Okay. Yeah. Either
Um,
way, like, yeah. I, to the question, yes, take it.
yeah, I would be
So
on the side of DK and Brian Robinson.
I would say probably the most likely scenario if we're looking at the rest of the season. I don't think Demonte Adams stays a Raider, and I know that's not like that's not a
Hmm.
known secret. I think he is going to get traded because if I'm the Raiders, and I'm not talking about from a fantasy perspective, if I'm the Raiders, I'm going to try to get as much value for him as I can. We know he's not going to resign in Las Vegas. They have a head coach that I like, Antonio Pierce, but beyond this season, he may coach next year, but they may go through another coaching change. They don't have a solid quarterback. They're probably going to take a quarterback next year.
Yep.
If I'm Demonte Adams, I try to get a trade. And so if he gets
Yeah.
traded, he's going to be traded to a team that needs another receiver.
He's
Now
not going to the Chiefs.
he's
The
not going.
Raiders would
Yeah, he's
not
not
do
going to
that.
the Chiefs. He's not going to Cowboys. He's not going to probably a top tier team.
Yeah.
But I think he's still going to land somewhere that makes some logical sense.
It's probably going to be a team in the NFC, if I had to guess, just for the sake of like we don't want to see you kind of thing.
Zane says, should I trade Kelsey for Pitts and ETN? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably keep Kelsey just because I think he might get a little bit more work now that Rashee is gone.
Well,
Do you?
actually, I would say, oh, sorry, Christian.
No, go ahead, Elliot. Go ahead.
I actually say it differently. I would think, again, a lot of these, the trade questions we get, which by the way, thank you for them, but they kind of all depend on what the team looks like as a whole. But if you take out, I mean, Pitts, the talent's there, but I think Pitts is kind of just too up and down. But ETN, I know we talked about him a lot last night. If it's ETN versus Travis, I mean, I would take ETN, especially if I needed like a good
Travis and
flex spot.
Travis.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I would again just based on the fact that he was Trevor Lawrence's teammate in college. Trevor Lawrence is going to advocate for him, and the fact that I mean he is still good and he's got out of the backfield. I might say ETN, but again, I don't know the make of the person's team to be able to give like a good answer. Other than that,
I would not want to move from a tight end situation of having Travis Kelsey. All right, first 2, 3 weeks of the season, he wasn't great. But you want Kel Pitts? I don't.
I know.
I
I
wouldn't
would
want
just
him on
keep
my
Kelsey.
roster because I
Unless
mean,
you were desperate for running back, I would just keep
that's the thing. If it
Kelsey.
depends on what you need. Because if
Uh
the person was willing to give up to Kelsey, he may be good. He may have another tight end. That's fine. I don't know.
Giants fan says, I think the Jets might get him, honestly, reunite him with Rodgers. If that's the case, how great or how would you value Devontae Adams with Garrett Wilson and Lazard already there?
And Mike Williams, who actually had the most yards yesterday.
And Mike Williams, who's probably a get hurt, but
but they still have an offensive coordinator that can't get them the ball. I mean, that's the issue.
yeah.
And a QB that's not his own self.
Yeah. Another take I was gonna say is, are you rostering any Titans outside of Tony Pollard? This is with Will Levis or Mason Rudolph.
So, okay, let's just go in order of like who we think would have the most value outside of Pollard. You got D Hop.
Oh wait, hang on. The guy who was talking about ETN and Pitts, Zane says, thanks. That's what I was thinking. He said he's got Henry, Jacobs, Dobbins, and DeAndre Swift. No, you don't
Oh
need
yeah, no,
Don't
no,
enter
no,
you
no,
that.
no,
don't
no, no,
need
no.
Nah.
ETN.
Somebody's trying to
Nope,
fleece you,
nope.
man.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Nah, you're good, man. I would keep Kelsey. But going back to the Titans, Christian, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think like who actually over there has value. You got Nuke,
Pollard?
you got DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, I know we talked about this maybe yesterday, maybe last week. Tajay Spears. I know he's the handcuff to Pollard. Would you hold him? The tight end, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't say his name. Warren. You
Oh,
know what I'm talking about.
Okonkwo?
Tight end for
Okonkwo?
A
I
close
yeah.
can't
way.
remember his name.
Sorry, I can't say his name. He had a lot of hype going into the draft. I feel like he hasn't really panned out, but I don't really think it's that he hasn't panned out. To me, it is more so the offense has not really fit through Will Levis. So I would say those are your top three options on the Titans. Would y'all want to hold any of them?
Pollard, but that's it.
Yeah,
And even, I mean, yeah, that's
just
all
Pollard
about it. Yeah.
at this
I,
point.
I would I would say Hopkins, but he would only be a flex.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a consistent starter. If I can find somebody else that is going to give me, I'm going to set the bar low. They can give me 8 points just in the flex. I'm probably going to start them over DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't want anybody from the Titans outside of Pollard. Um, Looking at this game here, and I've got this guy in one league. What is your thoughts on Jared Goff? NFL wise, I think he's playing well. Fantasy wise, he's getting eaten alive by his running backs. How do you value him going forward?
So I think with Goff, I really think he is best suited, like from what he's going to give you. Again, from an NFL perspective, all thumbs up. From a
Now,
fantasy,
just to preference, he did throw a 70-yard touchdown to Jameson Williamson just now. But before
mm-hmm,
that, I mean, he was doing really nothing.
so I think you almost have to view Jared Goff into, oh, almost picked off. Maybe it was. I think you almost have to view Jared Goff in two buckets. You got to view him either A, he's going to be kind of a late popper. I feel like he's going to be one of those that like once the playoff, right around like week 11, like the NFL playoffs, once we start seeing the like where everybody's going to be seated, like the top seed, second seed, third seed, like the Thanksgiving time of the year, I think he will just have to be better because like in order to get that playoff spot, you got to rely on your best guy. He's pretty good. But up until we get to like that point, he's either a bye week fill in or a dynasty quarterback where you may have two QBs. But in terms of this point in the season where we're not much is on the line yet,
Mhm.
I would say he's bye week replacement or like a two QB league kind of QB right now. I wouldn't be if I'm in a 12 league and I don't think he'd be a starter unless it's one of those leagues where people take quarterbacks and they hoard them. That's
So
just
I'm
kind
going
of
to give
my
you just
sense.
the live rankings that Fantasy Pros has right now on quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right now, they they value Caleb Williams over Jared Goff. So they have Caleb Williams as the 14th ranked best quarterback for next week. Jared Goff at 15. Anthony Richardson falling, but he's at 16, and then Darnold after that. That being said, I mean, if you just look at his points right now, he has around 20 points, which is really good for a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, he just said he had a 70-yard touchdown.
Yep.
If you look at every single week, he's had, like last week he had 2 touchdowns. He still only had 14 points. Week before, no touchdown. Week before
Hmm.
that, week one, he had 1 touchdown. I don't think he's getting enough touchdowns to really value his role. He has receiving weapons, and that's not an issue. You know, he's
Yeah.
passing the ball when he needs to. He's efficient with his passing. He's effective, and that's separate from the fantasy perspective. In his role, he's effective, but I don't think he is valuable enough to have as a starting quarterback on your roster.
And of the 20 points he's got, one of those was a touchdown catch, which I mean, how often is that going to happen?
That's right. Yeah.
I think it's the reason they got Caleb Williams over him is because of the volume.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams is going to throw a lot. Jared Goff probably doesn't have to throw a lot. I mean, he's got, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's probably the best running back tandem in the league, Montgomery and Gibbs. Unless you
Pittsburgh.
guys got someone else, but I mean, unless Ellie, you think the Cowboys do with Zeke and
Oh,
Dallas.
absolutely. Oh, we're definitely top five, you know.
Um, so I mean, I don't know. The Jets may have an argument, but I would think the Lions got the better duo.
In terms of like the duel and what they're actually producing,
Yeah.
yes.
Also,
I'll ask a wait. Go ahead. I've got some
no,
question
no,
if you
you go
want.
ahead, Elliot.
I was going to ask one. This is actually just kind of my own personal question. If you guys had the choice between Jordan Love or Jaden Daniels going forward, which of those two would you pick? Now, granted,
Don't ask
Jordan Love
Christian.
is just coming up off an injury, but yesterday against maybe the best fantasy defense right now, or maybe the best NFL defense. I don't know about fantasy. Granted, it was garbage time, but he looked great. He looked like he was fine. But then Jaden Daniels has got the rushing upside, and he's very steady. So what were y'all thoughts on like those two long
Real
term?
quick, Weston said, should I start Cole Kmet at flex since they're playing the Panthers next week? I would
No.
hope you have someone else you could play at flex. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind him at tight end, but flex is a lot. Um, James says, should I trade Josh Jacobs for David Montgomery? I would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christian, you got
No,
that
I'll
look
take
on
a
your
picture.
face? Okay,
No,
okay.
yeah.
But going back to your question, Elliot, I would probably take Jane Daniels. That's just my take.
I think
Because
that
of the
Jaden
rushing upside.
I'm gonna try to see how long this streak with him how long it lasts.
I see you,
So
Landon. I
he's
got your
mainly
question.
getting 15, 20, 25 points a game. He's on my team, right? So I have him, and I'll be honest, I have CJ Stroud. So I have two really good quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I'm choosing to start Jaden Daniel, even though I know CJ Stroud's probably going to get me 15, 20 points a game.
yeah,
I know, man, when he really pops, I'm going to get a ton of points.
yep.
I know there's going to be a week coming where they're going to scheme him really well. Something's not going to fit. He's going to play on the road. And so at a point, I know he's not going to get me those points. I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because you know you're going to get that upside of, wow, he's going to have really great weeks, and one week he's not. So I would still start him over Jordan Love.
Landon says, where did it go? He said, he's on my bench. He might get traded to the Chiefs. I'm not sure who you were talking about. I don't know, maybe Devontae Adams. I don't know who you were referring to. Um, Eli says I won my week because because Ridley got 2 points.
That's him.
Congratulations, Eli.
That's
I won
him.
last week because
Kenneth
Isaiah
Walker.
Likely had 1.4.
Let's go.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker just scored. This guy,
That just won me one of my student league.
yeah, DHD says I got offered Justin Jefferson for Nico. Do I do it? We had this exact same question yesterday. I said I would do it just because I'd rather have Justin Jefferson. I think Ellie, you said you keep Nico. Christian, you said you keep Nico. I can't remember.
No,
My thing
I
was my thing was, so I'm assuming he was offered Jefferson. Wait, no.
He would be getting Jefferson. He's getting rid of Nico.
I mean, again, I feel like that's one of those like that's a W no matter which way you go. My thing is, I feel like Nico Collins has done nothing to warrant being moved. Like he's been
Leads the league in
the best
passing.
receiver. He's
Yeah.
the best receiver right now in fantasy. And I think the same thing I said last night was if you're a Vikings fan, you just can't feel like or an LSU fan, do it. If you're a Vikings fan, LSU fan, do it. Otherwise, Nico has not done anything to prove it to like make me want to move off of him.
So
Appreciate
for
it,
me,
Eli.
and I'm not saying one way or the other because I think you really can't lose this trade.
No.
So it really is just your preference on who you want at receiver.
Yeah.
What I would
Landon
say,
Landon says Jordan Addison for Amari Cooper. Christian, you a big Cooper guy.
yeah, I would say no, only for the target share that Amari Cooper has. And again, we said this last night. It's not that Amari Cooper is not getting targets.
Yeah,
Targets may not translate to catches, but
yeah,
he has a ton of opportunity to catch the ball.
yeah.
Elliott, you said last night, he had what a 60-something yard touchdown or whatever it was.
70.
Deshaun that got called back for penalty.
Yep.
So he's getting seen. He's getting noticed in this offense.
Yeah.
Just not translating the point.
I would probably take Amari Cooper over Addison Landon.
Mm-hmm.
Eli says this is risky, but thoughts he just traded Allen. I hope Keenan Allen and not Josh Allen, but I just traded Allen and Addison for Dunze and Ayuk.
I think it means Braylon Allen,
Oh, I don't know. But
I
maybe.
Allen and
think he,
Addison or a Dunze and Ayuk.
I
That's
think he
tough.
means Keenan only because it's a two receiver for two receivers.
I would
Mm,
think.
yeah.
Um,
I think I would have not taken the trade.
yeah,
That's
I
just me.
probably would have. That's tough. I probably would have kept Allen and Addison.
Yeah, I would keep Addison.
Just because the Vikings look so good. Um,
Uh,
yeah, he said. Oh, the other one he said he was talking about Jordan Addison for Amari Cooper. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We would take Cooper. Richard says, do you guys think Amon and DK condone for 10 in the last quarter? I need that much. DK
combined, I
probably will
think.
get you there. Need 10 points with DK and Amon Ra.
I think you know what? I think DK is going to catch a touchdown here and tie it up. I
Really?
realize the touchdown's
All
only
right.
6 points, but I'm saying a
Yeah.
touchdown is 2 point conversion.
All right. We're holding you to that. I don't know. It's tough. It's the
I mean,
fourth
that's.
quarter. It's a
I mean,
close
it would
game.
have to be a touchdown, like
Yeah,
almost for sure.
one of them would have
So
to be a
let me
touchdown.
let me ask y'all a question. So from the three receivers that the Seahawks have, and I know there's really only two that we're going to talk about probably. What three receivers or which receiver would you rather have from the Seahawks? You got JSN, you got DK, you got Lockett. So
What
of the three
receiver would I
receivers,
rather have?
To me,
yeah.
it's DK. It's not close.
DK.
It's not even close to me.
Yeah, DK. DHD says, should I look to trade Brees Hall? I heard he's going to be sharing carries.
I
Ellie?
mean, see what you can get. I feel like Brees Hall don't settle. But I mean, yeah, like see to me, and when it comes to fantasy, I know Warren, I may contradict something that I typically do in the past, but fantasy wise, there's really only like on any given year, there's really only like 8 players that are like no exception, don't trade them. Everybody else, if the offer's right, take them.
Yeah, I would see what you could get for Brees Hall. I wouldn't settle. I would probably look for I don't even want to say around because players have been so bad, but I would probably look for somebody top 10, top 15 at their position easily.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let me see. He said
Hey, hey,
Ryan's.
hey, hey, hey. We got a touchdown.
Oh, who was that?
Oh, and
Touchdown
Miami,
Titans.
Was it Pollard?
I can't tell if it was Pollard or
number
Tyson.
20.
Oh yeah, that's my call, baby. I said Tony Pollard would be a top
Oh,
15
okay.
running back this year.
There
Um,
you go.
all right. Ryan says I just got offered Rashi Rice for Jamison Williams from a dumb league mate. Who would you guys rather have, Jamison or Rashi with the injury?
Now, let's not call people dumb. Let's not do that.
What's up, Grace?
Look, man, I'm petty. I give him a stupid trade back. If they ask me and they say, "Hey, here's one stupid trade," I'm gonna be like, "All right, let me get like Patrick Mahomes for like Skylar Thompson or something like that." That's what I would
let,
do.
let me get Nico Collins for Rico Dowdell.
All right. Who? Oh, Eli said I just wanted to get rid of Bears players. I don't blame you, man. Brian
Must be a Packers
says
fan.
CMC and Kelsey and Ty Chandler and I don't know. That's not. Oh wait. He has A and B. All right. So the A side is CMC, Travis Kelsey, and Ty Chandler. The B side is Amari Cooper, Brock Bowers, and Lad McConkey. Knowing what you know about CMC,
Feel like you guys can B side. Know what we know.
I'd probably take B.
I would
Unless
take
you
it,
think
and
McCaffrey's coming
so
back.
let's break that down. I'll talk about Bowers. What top tight end is out there? I mean, just looking at the tight end
Exactly.
position, there's not that many players, and I know this past week he didn't really have the best game, but he has been a consistent tight end. He's young, and he's only going to keep getting touches. If they
Mm-hmm.
happen to trade away Demonte Adams,
Adams.
then they
He's
got to get
basically,
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah, and then McConkey. I mean, this week was good. So
yeah. I think kind of like we said, or like what I said last night. Like again, whenever you have like those 3 for 3 trades, or 3 for 2, or 4 for 3, whatever. Like unpack it. Like who are they actually trying to get?
Yeah.
Like so you said CMC, Kelsey, and who was the third person on A?
Ty Chandler.
And then on B it was McConkey, Bowers, and who was that first person?
McConkey. Oh, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I mean I think literally you go across on all of them. B the ceiling on B is higher just about on every row.
Yeah,
I feel like so.
I got you. Let me see. Fly Higgs says, should I start Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith next week? Uh,
Baker
Who
had a
does
tough
who does
matchup.
Gino play
Baker's at Atlanta on Thursday
on
night, I think.
Thursday? On Thursday,
Um, let me
Gino
see.
is
They play the Giants. I go Geno.
yeah, because Baker's on Thursday, I'd
Yeah.
say Geno Smith.
Ryan says I just got offered Rice for oh no, that was the same question. Pedro says, do you think Xavier Worthy will step up next week with Rashi Rice out? I do.
so. I'll give the same take I had last night. 'Cause I think we had another question from somebody in the chat asking about that same thing.
Hmm.
I still think that
You're
Xavier
welcome,
Worthy
Brian.
is going to take the tape or is going to take the spot that Tyreek Hill had previously in that offense.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that he can't be the go-to receiver, but I don't think he's going to be the possession receiver that Rasheed Rice is right now for Mahomes. So I think those touches are probably going to go to. I talked last time about Juju Smith-Schuster. I
Yeah.
think some of them will go to Travis. They're
Hmm.
probably going to lean more into the run game, but I still think we're still going to see that, 3 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown,
Yeah.
or it could be 5 touches, 9 yards, and he has like a rushing touchdown. I don't think he's going to immediately take that same spot as Rasheed Rice.
Yeah,
All
with
right.
Worthy like in the being the Tyreek Hill role, that's true. He's in that role, but Kansas City is all but pretty much made it known that like that version of them from 2018, 19
It's
is
over.
kind of over. They're
Yep.
trying to let Mahomes just be steady, make good decisions, and play on defense. So I think, to your point, Worthy will be effective, but I think you will look back this year and see him as very like 20 points, 4 points, 12 points, 2 points. It'll be very like,
Boom bust.
yeah,
Cam says, should I try and trade ARSB? I think that's Amon-Ra St. Brown for Hall. Hall owner is about to be 1-3. Would you rather have Brees Hall or St. Brown?
I can't answer that because I don't know what you have at running back.
that's what I was gonna say. I think I need a little more
I think if you're decent at running back, I would take it. If not, I would definitely keep Brees Hall unless you're desperate for a wide receiver.
of parts. Well,
Just
I thought
depends
he was
on.
giving up. I thought he
Yeah,
was giving up there. Sorry, I
he's
thought.
giving it up.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He's giving up Sun God.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you lose St. Brown, like if your receivers are terrible, like you
Mm,
need him.
yeah, yeah. I
I
think that
would
just
keep
depends
St.
on
Brown.
what he needs. But in terms
Yeah,
of just like the name on the just the name on the sheet, I would take St. Brown. I think
I take Brees.
I would take
That's
St.
me.
Brown. I think he's again, especially if it's PPR, like Goff's gonna look for him, and Goff's gonna try to get him his checkdowns. And the Jets' offense is kind of in a weird spot. Brees is still elite, but I think St. Brown is safer.
Christian N says Devon Achan or Brian Robinson.
First off, I love that name. Great name, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Achan or Brian Robinson. Christian.
I can say more to let you take this one, but yeah,
I'll
I'm
take
gonna
it.
say I'm gonna say Brian Robinson.
I'm
I
taking
take
Brian
Robinson.
Robinson.
Robinson,
Yeah.
yeah.
He gets a lot of goal line work. The Commanders are looking great on offense, and the Dolphins are like plummeting right now.
And especially
Um,
with A Chain, to add to the A Chain factor, I watched a little bit of the game a few minutes ago. The problem with A Chain is he is not the kind of running back that you want with questionable QB play.
yep.
He is not a hand it to him 12 times, like 20 times
Not
and
Derrick
get
Henry.
5 yards of carry. He is
No.
a let me take it to the house. But when you're playing defense against a quarterback that is the quarterbacks that are not playing well,
No.
that kind of running back just typically doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, and I was
Brian.
gonna say just while the game just ended, obviously the Dolphins did not do well.
No.
Um, I know we talked about this a few minutes ago, but for those who just joined, what do you think about the Dolphins offense? Are there any players, just Warren Elliott, any players that you think you warrant keeping,
No.
or any players you think we should trade, or users should trade, or people in the chat should trade for value?
Jump ship now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you got to jump.
who's this? Oh, Brian. He says you guys like Amari Cooper or T. Higgins more.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins.
Um,
Cooper's probably
they,
going to out target him. I
uh,
mean, yeah, but Higgins has been shown to do more with what he gets.
And
Jay.
another
Oh,
key stat, at least for T. Higgins, the Bengals don't do as well to start the season. With the last two seasons, they've always started slow. Once they get to October, they get to November, man, they really start to hit their stride.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I would trust the Bengals offense to at least figure it out and get it together
Yeah, I would take T.
as the season goes.
Jay says, would you guys do JT for Tyreek straight up? I'm assuming Jonathan Taylor. Barring that injury, I would take Jonathan Taylor.
Same. Yeah,
Rogan
also,
said,
Taylor doesn't have much competition. I mean, he's got Trey Sermon. So, hey, maybe for this week, you may want to try to stream Trey Sermon. But JT, I
yeah,
think
if you
it's
got
as long as
Jonathan
he's not
Taylor,
hurt.
you got to pick up Sermon.
Yeah.
Rogan says, should I do Kittle for Worthy and Gasecki?
Yeah, I would
Gasecki
take
was
that.
negative.
He was negative. He had
Hold
he
on,
had
let me
one
repeat
catch for
that. He
Yeah, say it
played an
again.
entire football game and had negative fantasy points. I
he had
started
one
him.
catch for negative 9 yards.
Your team was
Oh
better
my
off if
God.
you had left it blank than starting Mike Gesicki.
Mm,
I'd probably keep Kittle. He's been solid this year. I'm not sure. Yeah, especially if you're in a tight end mandatory league, I'd probably keep Kittle.
yeah. I would say, though, if it's a Oh wow, Jared Goff tonight is 15 to 15. He is not handing completion. Um, if that's a dynasty league, I would entertain it for Worthy for Kittle.
Yeah.
If it's a dynasty league, I actually would take it. But in it's a redraft league, no, I keep Kittle.
Christian, free giveaway said, what should I do with Achan? Look to trade him.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're thinking about Achan and Elliott, you had a really great comparison. He does not do well when he doesn't have a solid quarterback. He's more so get out in space. He's going to have the long touchdowns. So I'm trying to think about maybe what I can trade Achan for.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I
Would
would
you
say maybe the Bengals. I mean, you can maybe get one of the Bengals running backs.
Let me ask
Um,
you this. Would you
yeah, go for
trade Tony Pollard for, Achan for Tony Pollard?
it. All right, so I'm going to look at both sides of this. If I have Achan, yes, I'm going to make that trade. If I have Pollard, I'm not taking the trade.
I got you.
So I think it's one of those you can propose it, but
Yeah.
I highly doubt that the person on the other end is going to take that.
Okay. Um, Next question here. Cam said his other wide receivers were Nico, Godwin, Robinson, Sutton. Would that be a good core without St. Brown?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be a good core. Nico will hold
Mm-hmm.
it down
That,
and Godwin.
yeah.
This person says Baker for St. Brown.
Hmm.
So you would trade Baker for St. I would
That
take
must be
St.
that must
Brown
be
over
two. That
Baker.
must be like a two QB league or some kind of dynasty league. That don't
Active
make sense.
Pride, if it's a two QB league, I'd take Baker. Regularly, I'm keeping St. Brown. Kyle says, should I trade Terry and Madison for DK? I'm assuming Terry McLaurin
Alexander Madison for
and Alexander
DK.
Madison for DK.
Oh,
That's a
that's
good question.
that's a pretty good one. I think again, I got to see what the rest of the roster looks like, but I think just in terms of total value, DK without a doubt. But again, I got to see the rest of the roster.
My only hesitation is I think Terry is building a chemistry with Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think Zamir White sucks. So I think Madison was going to get more work. I honestly would probably
Yeah,
take Terry and Madison.
yeah.
What about you, Christian? You're the tiebreaker.
Yeah, so I don't think I would trade for DK. For what it's worth, and I don't know why I think this, I don't think he stays healthy for the rest of the season. And I'm making this statement just based on past performance or past seasons. I don't think I'm going to put DK on my team and have him and trust him in that wide receiver one spot.
Yeah.
So McLaurin, he's building that rapport, he's building that chemistry. I think I would keep him and just ride it out. And I know the second piece was there, but to
Yeah.
me, you're really trying to evaluate would you rather have DK or McLaurin?
Yeah.
The only thing about, and I do agree with both y'all's takes. I think honestly, put Madison aside, it really is DK versus Lauren, not McLaurin, because yes, Zimmer I was bad, and Madison's definitely better, but better doesn't mean good because Madison's
So,
going to be.
Elliott, what I'm going to ask you, would if they're not already on your team, would you want to hold a Raiders running back?
Madison. Watching the Raiders play because I had Devontae Adams, he actually looks decent. Like he looks good.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, I mean,
Um,
definitely
this
Madison.
this guy here,
Oh,
Chu, says Jalen Waddle and Olave for Nico Collins. Yes, I would have done that yesterday. If you're getting Nico Collins, yeah, I would do that.
yes,
Um,
anytime.
who it,
I am a Nico Collins truther. Okay.
Active Pride said, "Oh, it was a regular league. Already have Darnold. Yeah, then I would take St. Brown for Baker." Um, Chu says, "Who is Marvin Worth? Marvin Harrison. I'm assuming. I would probably
Yeah,
keep Marvin Harrison. Um,
Even though this past week
but
he was
Worth,
5 for 45 and a touchdown.
yeah, but it all happened in
I
like the first quarter.
But I was going to say, I think he's going to have weeks like that where
Yeah,
he's going to be paired up with the top corner and just him being a rookie, just experience wise, he's going to have weeks where he looks a little bit off.
yeah,
yeah. It didn't answer his question. Who is he worth? I mean, I would say a wide receiver too.
yeah.
Wide receiver too, if you're looking to trade him or trade for him.
Hmm.
Do I start Justice Hill or Bucky Irvin? Weston, that is a good question.
Great one. That's a
That's
great
tough.
Who
one.
do the Ravens play this week? Are they going to be passing a ton?
I don't know.
They play the Bengals, I
Bucky. Oh,
think.
they play the Bengals.
Yes. And the Bucks play the Falcons on Thursday.
I'd do justice. I'd hold on for one more week for Bucky, but I'll probably do
Yeah.
Justice Hill. Um,
Yeah, I think I do Justice Hill.
I think that's an even question, and just for what it's worth, I'll take the other side and just say Bucky, just to have conversation here. I
Yeah.
think if you believe that Bucky Irvin's going to be the pace back for the Buccaneers moving forward, I think you have to at least try him. And you may lose this week because you started him over, and he's technically a running back too. But I think you have to start him if you really trust and you really see where he's going right now, or you trust him going forward. I would think you would have to start Bucky Irving. He's
well,
taken a lot. Go ahead.
he just said that he doesn't usually start them, but he has Saquon and it's their bye week, so he's looking for a filler.
Oh, really just kind of a one off. I mean, hey, one off doesn't matter. I mean, if you can get somebody, you can get somebody. A bench strength matters. I mean, Chris, I think you made a good point about Bucky. Like, he's emerging, and Justice Hill will be very game script dependent, whereas Bucky Irvin wouldn't. The game script would almost not matter. So that's kind of a good way to look at it, I think.
Okay. Um, Kyle here says, I'm looking to trade Achan. I knew we were gonna get Dolphins question. I'm looking to trade Achan. What high-end running back should I target? I already have, I'm assuming Jordan Mason and Kenneth Walker.
Mm.
Weston, yeah, I would start Bucky versus Atlanta. But Kyle says, who should I get? Um, who could he get high-end running back wise for Achan? He already has Mason and Walker.
All right, so homeboy earlier said he's down 10 and he needs St. Brown or DK. Well, St. Brown just scored maybe the best catch of the week.
That's a nice catch. Yeah.
I just saw it.
Of the week. So, dude, if you're still
I don't
watching,
know. Justin
I
Jefferson
don't
had a
know.
good catch too. Had a better catch, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll
But
say
You
that
that
thought
was
the
a
was
good
one that
catch.
just hit him here, that Darnold just fit in like right here.
yeah. It's
That
like
one
right
and the
back
one,
kind of.
no, it was the toe tap he had on the sideline, kind of like
Mm.
St. Brown's. But anyway, back to your question,
Yeah,
Kyle.
I
Higher,
have a question to this person. And I have an answer, but I also have a question to him. Why do you want another running back? So if
uh,
you have two great running backs right now on your roster, I'm assuming your
Unless,
wide
yeah.
receiver position is great. So
Unless it's
if
a flex
I'm trying to
situation.
get value, I would try to target a receiver. And I'll go back to something Austin said on the first or second week. Once you get past maybe running back 12, 15, so I'll say probably Chase Brown and Zach Moss is probably like the cutoff I would take there. I would say any running back after that, it's not going to really give you the point that a wide receiver two
Yeah.
or three could possibly give you.
Mm-hmm.
So to
you're
answer this
welcome, Weston.
question, I mean, I would say, yeah, it would be a Zach Moss, it would be a Chase Brown, um, maybe a Kenneth Walker, depending on how that person sees him moving forward. I know he tonight, he kind of went off, so they may not be selling him as low as they probably would have before. But to me, those are the running back comparisons.
Kyle, if you're looking for a running back, I'll give you a couple in mind that I would do for HN. Christian just said it, Kenneth Walker. I would try and get James Conner. Um, I would try to get, I don't know if the person would do it, but I would try and get Jahmyr Gibbs.
I would
Um,
say another one you could try to get is Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba.
Yeah.
I would probably try and target Bijan if the Bijan owner.
I'll give you one. What about
If
James Cook? Or do you think he's still higher value than you think you would get for
I would
HN?
take Cook over HN at this point.
But hey, ask.
Yeah. Just a couple of guys out there for you. Bejunes says, do I pick up Chase Brown or Josh Downs on waivers? Hmm.
Wait, who is the first option?
Chase
Chase
Brown
Brown.
or Josh Downs, depending on the position you need. But if you're good at each position, I would probably say Chase Brown. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think?
I think it depends on if it's just like a one. I mean, I think Chase Brown is more longer term
Yeah.
better. But if Flacco does play or start over AR this week, which I don't know if that's confirmed, if he does start, I think Josh Down Josh Downs does have like kind of like the sugar high, like immediate right now value, but I think Chase Brown is better long term.
Yeah, I was thinking more long term because I think
Yeah.
Richardson will be back at some point, and I think Chase Brown
Hmm.
is going to be in the Bengals offense all year. So
Hmm.
I would even say that I really think Chase Brown is the real running back one in Cincinnati. So
mm,
to me, I mean, if you look at their point totals this
I
past
agree with
week,
that. I agree with
they
that.
were
point
very
total,
very close.
yeah, but I think as far as like how they play and snap count, you don't think it's Zach Moss?
Well, snap count is, but in terms of like what you're gonna get,
Yeah.
I think Chase Brown maybe long term. I think I may agree with that.
Okay.
Because even going into the season, other analysts were kind of like, "Hey, keep an eye on him."
Kyle, yeah, I see it. Kyle, the guy who was asking about HN trade. And Christian, you said, why not try and get a wide receiver? He said he has AJ Brown, Terry, Deontay Johnson, and Olave. So he's pretty good at receiver when
Oh,
AJ comes back. Joe says, should I trade Malik Neighbors and Garrett Wilson for Amon Ra and Deontay Johnson? That's tough, man. I'm a
that's
Neighbors
pretty
guy.
even.
Man, you just don't like New York receivers, I guess.
Oh man. Um, that's
Wow.
tough, man. I would probably take
So say it again. It's Neighbors and
Garrett
Wilson.
Wilson for Amon Ra and Deontay Johnson. That's
So
pretty even
to
to
me,
me.
to me, it's really Neighbors versus Amon Ra. That's what if I'm receiving that trade,
See, I
that's
disagree.
what I'm evaluating
I think it's
personally.
Wilson versus Deontay because I think Neighbors and Amon Ra will be kind of neck and neck, but it's really Wilson and Deontay. To me, Wilson is the worst one out of this group right now. But do you
But I think
think
Neighbors is the
Deontay
best one out of the
Johnson's
group.
gonna keep up what he's doing? I'm assuming if Andy Dalton stays the quarterback.
And see, I think
Um,
Deontay. See, I don't know is Deontay long term sustainable, and is Wilson is his negative play long term. That's the thing. This is one of those that like I'd have to sleep on it, but I don't think you're wrong if you just stick with what you have.
I think that can go either way.
I
But
mean,
to answer your question, I would keep Neighbors and Wilson.
I'm going to
same.
go and say 60-40. I would take that trade. I
Yeah,
would
I
take
mean,
that. I mean,
Neighbors is hurt, but
yeah, more enough. I think you said it. I can't remember which one of y'all said it. Garrett Wilson is the weakest link, in my opinion, of that trade.
he is.
Deontay Johnson, who I mean, who's he battling with for target share?
Xavier
Leggett,
Leggett.
Leggett,
So
Leggett, Leggett.
Leggett,
Um,
but his country self. But
oh, Kyle says, should I do Achan for Gibbs slash Bijan 1-for-1? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh
Either one of
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah.
Brock Richard Purdy. He says, should I accept the trade? I'm giving up Jamar Chase for Brees Hall. No, not unless you need a running back.
Mhm.
Um, Trading away Chuba Hubbard and Drake London for AJ Brown. Is that good? That's a good question, BR.
Hmm.
I would say it depends on what you have at receiver. And
Mhm.
I feel like this is always just a blanket disclaimer.
Uh,
We can't see your team, so we're giving it just based on what's in the chat there. Um, I think I'll take
Elliott,
it.
Elliott, you're
I
the
mean,
Drake London guy. What would you do?
I have actually on one of my teams. I actually have both London and Chuba Hubbard,
Yeah.
and I famously in our draft I passed on AJ Brown round two, and so did a lot of people. Uh, I would probably again, like to Christian's point, I kind of need to know like what other receiver or other running back do you have? Because if you're trying to give up Chuba, you obviously have a running back that you think is steady in his place.
He might have got Chuba off waivers.
Probably did. I would
so
think.
if I can add
I
this to the
mean,
Chuba situation, excuse me. If I can add this to Chuba situation, Miles Sanders, I think is getting activated this week. So I know Chuba is the lead back, and he has been the lead back, and I think he is the better of the two.
mhm.
But I
But
wonder how much that running back share is really going to impact Chuba Hubbard, because Miles Sanders is
Jonathan
going to get some
Brooks.
kind of touches out of that offense.
Well, Jonathan
Did you
Brooks
mean
too.
Jonathan Brooks or Miles Sanders?
Sorry, Jonathan Brooks. My bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
My
because Miles
I
Sanders
was
has
gonna
been
say
playing.
Miles Sanders
Yeah.
sucks, so I'm not really worried about him. Zach says, should I keep Mike Gesicki or drop him? I have Evan Ingram. I drop both of them.
Oof.
Um,
Yeah.
So in one of my leagues, I also have Evan Ingram, and I picked up Mike Gesicki to play in his place this week. And this is a PPR league. I got zero point 0.1 points. So that one catch for
Mm.
-9 yards.
Yep. I had Isaiah Likely and picked up Mike Gesicki, and I should have kept Likely. Um,
Yeah.
let me see. Kyle says my number one target for trading Achan is Bijan, but should I be concerned about his hamstring? I don't believe so. Christian, you know much
Mm.
about that injury?
I didn't know
Sorry,
that.
Bijan for who?
Bijan for Achan, but he's worried about Bijan's hamstring.
I don't I don't recall it being an issue. Um, I wouldn't worry about it, but I can look at it while y'all were talking as well. But I don't recall that being a major issue for
Yeah.
him.
Kyle, I think you'd be fine if you can get Bijan for HN. And going back to BR, trading away Hubbard in London for AJ Brown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we ever answered this question
I
or
think I would
her.
take AJ Brown. Assuming you
See,
have good running backs, but I would take AJ Brown.
I'm not seeing any injury designation for Bijan.
Yeah. Kyle said he thinks it's minor. It just said limited in practice. I think Bijan will be fine. Go ahead and send the trade proposal. Hopefully it goes through tonight and your team will be better off and you won't have to worry about the Dolphins' atrocity.
mm,
And more in LA. We may do this tomorrow with Austin, who wish he was here. Hope he
Yeah.
feels better. We may do a waiver wire episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
For some of you guys who are trying to maybe pick up a tight end or Rashee Rice, he got injured and you need to find a receiver to pick up his place that's not a trade worthy piece. We can talk tomorrow night on what pieces are out there, who we think is the best grab to get.
Yep.
If you have, waiver wire budget, if you just have, first choice, second choice, depending on your
Waiver
ranking,
order. Yeah.
we can talk through that.
Yep. Kyle says, would you rather Jameer Gibbs or Bijan Robinson?
I'd
I'm
say,
gonna say,
ooh,
I,
that's,
I'm gonna
I
say
say
Jameer Gibbs.
I say
I say
Gibbs.
Gibbs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gibbs. Reasoning why I think he'll have more opportunities to score.
yeah.
And
I
I
think the
think
Lions feature gives more than the
I
I think the
almost put
Lions. Sorry, I was. I think the Lions feature gives more than the Falcons are featuring Bijan. I mean, they're both getting featured, but I think Gibbs is getting more of it.
So Kyle, to help you out, I would send Achan for Gibbs, and if you can't get Gibbs, I would send it for Bijan. Um, so, but yeah, I haven't seen an injury or anything for Bijan or anything that's concerning, but um,
And honestly, it may even be he was limited in practice. Hey, they play on Thursday.
yeah,
So it may even be any player that was lightly dinged up. We're not going to put him out there. It's a short week, anyways. So that, to me, that's not surprising.
yeah. Hales says, "Oh man, I thought that was a flag.
I thought,
Um,
yeah.
that's pass
Ooh.
interference." Hale says, "What running backs could I try to target for Marvin?" Man, everybody trying to trade Marvin. Um, what running backs? I would try
Uh,
and get Gibbs. Um, unless you can try and get, I would say Gibbs, maybe a Brees Hall if the person
Yeah,
is,
I'll give you one that we have not talked about.
yeah.
Did you try Joe Mixon? He's
Oh,
coming
Hale
off
said
an
he's
injury.
got Gibbs. Okay. We'll try
oh,
Joe Mixon for Marvin
Yeah, he's coming
Harrison.
off an injury, and so maybe the person that has him is willing to just try to move him because they don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
Worth a
mm,
try.
I give you a
mm.
couple Hales. I would say like Christian said, Joe Mixon. Um, probably the guy on the same team, James Conner, if you're
I was
not
gonna say
afraid of his
Connor.
injury. Um, those are probably what about Brian Robinson for Marvin Harrison? I'd be all right with that.
I
I
like that.
think Brian Robinson's pretty undervalued. He gets a lot of opportunities to score. And I thought Eckler would cut into his work more, but he hasn't. And he's also hurt.
Of
So
course, I mean
Central been
Kenneth Walker tried. I mean, I know Kenneth Walker's balling out right now, so it may be tough, but I mean,
Yeah,
try.
you might not get Kenneth Walker after the night, but yeah, I would
it's
probably
just been
go.
a question we've had. I don't see a reason to abandon ship on Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
Again, maybe in
he
one
probably
quarter,
needs a running
top
back.
45. But
Yeah. Um, Tommy says Kamara and Shakir. for Bijan and Pollard. I
So you're trying to get two running backs. So I'm assuming this person has great receivers.
I don't think that's a bad trade. I think Kamara's the better one in this group, but I would take Bijan and Pollard over Shakir.
I would too.
I'd probably
I
take the
would too.
trade.
I'd probably take it too.
So I think he's proposing this trade. If I'm on the other side, I wouldn't take that trade. Just for what I'm getting in return, I don't think it's a trade, but you can always propose it.
Justin says, should I drop Rashid Shaheed for Wandale Robinson? I would hope you got
Mm,
someone else to drop other than Shaheed, but if you don't, I wouldn't mind it. Daniel Jones is looking at Wandale a lot, and I don't know if
yeah.
Neighbors are going to be out this week. What do you
Oh,
think,
oh, that's
Christian?
a safety. Hold on. That's a safety.
Yep.
I think so.
Shaheed or
Uh,
Wandale?
yeah, I'm going to say Wandale. Rashid Shaheed, he had, 2 weeks where he scored, two touchdowns in a row,
Yep.
like three catches for like 100 something yards.
Yep.
I don't think he's panned out since. And so,
Yesterday he was eight
but,
for 83. I thought
Yep.
when
oh,
he like
was it?
eight for
Okay.
83. I thought I'm saying no. Keep Shaheed. And doesn't she do returns
Not
or
He
no?
does,
anymore.
but, he doesn't anymore.
No,
I thought he did. Okay.
I don't think
Um.
so.
But even if he scores a return touchdown, does that go to him or does that go to the Saints defense special teams?
Yeah. I guess it depends on how that
Depends
league
on
is
your
set up.
league.
Because
Yeah.
in the league I'm in, the
Oh,
player gets it.
Tommy said he already accepted it. Yeah, I
Oh,
would
okay.
take Bijan and Pollard.
Yeah. Hey.
Um, who is this? Wait, I thought I had another. Oh, Carson says I'm cooked on bye weeks next week, but do you think Kareem is a good flex? Yeah, I would pick up Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
He looked like the best running back on the Chiefs yesterday.
Yeah.
There's only two teams that have a bye week though.
Yeah.
Chargers and was it Cardinals?
Eagles,
I thought
maybe?
Eagles.
Eagles.
I think it's
Chargers
them
and
too.
Eagles.
Yeah. Maybe he's got
Mhm.
Saquon. I don't know, AJ Brown, Lad McConkey. I don't know. Dobbins, maybe. Um,
Herbert.
let's see, who is this? Shreepad says, should I trade Achan? I knew this was coming. Should I trade Achan for James Conner and Deontay Johnson? Yeah,
Yeah. Oh
do it
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah.
Send it
Hey,
now.
you want me to hit the button for you? I can. I'll hit it for you.
Do it now before they change their mind. Hell yeah. Oh, Justin responded. He said Bucky Irvin, Shaheed for Wandale Robinson, or I guess I'm assuming Bucky Irvin. No, I would do Wandale over Bucky.
Yeah.
Or would you do Shaheed for Bucky Irvin? I'd probably keep Shaheed in that instance.
Me too.
So
Just for
I'm
the
going to give two
upside.
answers, but I think for me the answer depends on how your league is scoring. If it's a PPR, you keep the receiver. If it's a half PPR, if you believe
I'd
that Bucky Irving is going to outpace Rashad White and he is going to be the next running back for that offense,
Yeah.
I would say take that trade for Bucky Irving. But it just depends on how the scoring is in your league.
Yeah.
Mhm.